This Tiffany lamp has quite a story behind it. Originally purchased before World War I, it was a special order from the Tiffany counter at Marshall Field's in Chicago. The original owner, a man who loved tulip designs, wanted more tulips than the standard shade offered.
Price was $125 for the base, $250 for the standard shade, plus $125 for the special work on the shade, for a total of $500 for the lamp when he bought it new.
Fast forward to 1995, when the lamp was passed down to its current owner. Over the years, many Tiffany lamps have had their bases and shades swapped around, but this one has remained intact. The shade itself is unique, as the typical design would have had an additional border and more areas depicting soil. Instead, the customization brought the tulips lower, reducing the soil depiction and creating a fuller floral effect. Tiffany studios often accommodated special requests, especially at Marshall Field's, where 2 rooms were dedicated to selling their work.
He exhibited there in 1893 with the World's Columbian Exposition and had a very large pavilion with windows and all types of amazing objects.
Some of the glass in this lamp, like the vibrant red phosphate stringing glass and rippled sections, is particularly rare. By the 1920s, Tiffany studios no longer had access to this kind of material, suggesting that this lamp was likely made around 1915. Everything about it, from the original cap to the rich patina on both the base and the leading, points to a well-preserved piece. At auction, it could fetch an astonishing price.
At auction, an estimate for this would be between $150,000 and $200,000.
Okay.
A stunning example of Tiffany craftsmanship, this lamp has held on to its history and value beautifully. A single phone call led 3 siblings to an unexpected discovery. Their half-sister Phyllis had passed away, leaving them her estate.
So I was the one that went to Arizona and went to the house, and then I went into the bedroom, and on her side table was this lamp.
It immediately stood out, and sure enough, markings confirmed it was an authentic Tiffany Studios poppy lamp. This design, known as the 20-inch poppy cone shade, first appeared in Tiffany's 1906 catalogue. Customers could mix and match shades and bases to fit their style and budget. However, the base of this particular lamp wasn't introduced until 1910 and appeared again in 1913, meaning this pairing likely happened after that year. A unique feature of this lamp is its gilded base, coated in 24-karat gold. The poppy shade itself originally sold for $115, while the base was $45.
Right, for that time period.
Tiffany actually put a gilded finish on these bases with 24-karat gold. Oh. So this is very expensive. And because it was expensive right from the get-go, there was an additional 25% on top of the price of the lamp.
25%.
Though most parts of the lamp remain in their original condition, the sockets were replaced over time, a common practice to keep lamps functional. Collectors today, however, prefer completely original pieces. Even with this minor change, this Tiffany lamp is a rare and valuable find.
In today's market, I would put an auction estimate of $70,000 to $90,000 on this lamp.
Very nice.
Back in the late 70s or early 80s, a woman received an unexpected gift from her husband.
And I got it at Robinson's department store in their estate sale department.
He paid a little over $3,000, which at the time was a huge expense for them. She always knew it was a signed Tiffany piece, handmade and estimated to be from the 1920s, as the store had told her, but she hadn't realized just how special it really was. Upon closer inspection, the appraiser immediately recognized the stunning black opals in the piece. The larger opal showed slight crazing, while the smaller one was in perfect condition.
Are what are known as patchwork opals with lots of play of color, with lots of red, which is a very desirable color.
The real shock? This was a Louis Comfort Tiffany original. Louis Comfort Tiffany was a brilliant artist, known for his beautiful stained glass and unique jewelry designs. He had a special way of blending colors and materials to create stunning one-of-a-kind pieces, just like this black opal treasure. Though Tiffany & Co. signed pieces after 1907, the craftsmanship suggested the 1910s, making it a rare treasure. At today's market value, the appraiser estimated the price of the piece.
The value today is somewhere average retail between $70,000 and $90,000.
Oh my God.
A stunning piece of history found its way into someone's hands through an unexpected inheritance. It was said to be a Cold Air return cover from the grand home of Henry O. Havermeyer, a powerful sugar baron.
In the early 1890s, his firm, Tiffany Glass and Decorating Company, undertook the interior decoration of the Havermeyer home. But it wasn't in Brooklyn. It was on 5th Avenue and 66th Street.
In the early 1890s, Louis Comfort Tiffany's firm transformed the Havermeyer residence into a masterpiece designed to showcase an extensive art collection. This particular piece, an air return cover, wasn't just functional, it was a work of art crafted with Tiffany's signature chainmail design. Tiny metal links held together shimmering light blue opalescent glass, creating a mesmerizing effect. In its original setting, this cover would have been hidden away in an air shaft, never fully illuminated, but with light shining through it today, its beauty is on full display.
The reason why it looks particularly beautiful today is that we have put light behind it, which you wouldn't ordinarily see in the shaft where the piece was initially installed.
After the Havermeyer mansion was demolished in the 1930s, some of its architectural treasures, including this piece, were sold at auction. Over the years, a few structural supports were added to keep it intact, but its authenticity and craftsmanship remain untouched. According to the appraiser, if placed in a retail shop, it could easily fetch a remarkable price.
If this were to sell in a retail shop, it could easily sell for between $45,000 and $50,000.
Back in the 1980s, he gifted his wife a stunning diamond and sapphire bracelet, not for a special occasion, but simply because he enjoyed bringing home nice things.
He didn't always buy a card or give a gift on occasion, but he would come home with something nice.
The bracelet itself is a true work of art, set in platinum with dazzling 20 carats of diamonds arranged in a mix of shapes, round, marquise, and baguette, creating a delicate floral effect alongside the deep blue sapphires. The quality of both the design and the stones is exceptional, which makes sense considering it's an authentic Tiffany & Co. piece. The brand's signature can be found on the back of the clasp, confirming its craftsmanship.
Probably made about the 1960s. Do you have any idea where your husband bought it?
The owner once took it to a Tiffany store in Nashville, but when they offered to send it to New York for appraisal, she decided she wasn't comfortable letting it out of her hands. That decision didn't change the bracelet's incredible value. According to the appraiser, at auction, it could easily fetch a significant value.
I would expect that this bracelet would bring probably between $40,000 and $50,000 at auction.
Oh, wow.
This Tiffany Lotus Bell table lamp has quite a special history. The guest inherited it after her father passed away, but the lamp's story goes back to the 1950s.
My grandmother worked for wealthy people in Atherton and Menlo Park area, and apparently she found this lamp that was down in the basement. It was a dirt basement, crusted with dirt, and she brought it home, cleaned it up, and she gave it to my mother.
After cleaning it up, she gave it to the guest's mother. When the guest researched the lamp, she found out it was a Tiffany Lotus Bell table lamp. The appraiser confirmed this, saying the lamp's design is meant to look like a lotus flower opening up. This particular style is early and dates from 1902 to 1904, as shown by the numbers on the base.
The underside of the base is stamped with the Tiffany Glass and Decorating Company monogram, as well as Tiffany Studios, New York, and a 5-digit number.
There are some changes over the years, like a new switch and socket, which can lower the value, but these can be fixed, and the lamp is still a very sought-after item for collectors. The appraiser said similar lamps have sold for anywhere from $17,000 to $37,500 in auctions recently. In its current condition, this lamp could sell for,
I would say $35,000 to $45,000 retail. If you were able to get the switch and the socket back.
If the original parts were put back, it could go for $45,000 to $50,000. The guest, excited about the lamp's value, called it buried treasure, and the appraiser shared her excitement. The guest brought in a Tiffany Pin that was full of diamonds, which she believes is made of platinum. She purchased it about 30 years ago from a private seller who knew she appreciated vintage, high-quality pieces.
I purchased it about 30 years ago, and I tucked it away and brought it out yesterday.
The appraiser immediately noticed the Tiffany mark on the pin, confirming its authenticity. He described it as a stunning example of Art Deco design. The piece features diamonds in several different shapes, a European-cut diamond in the center, with French-cut, baguette-cut, and round-cut diamonds surrounding it.
Beautiful platinum frame. This is magnificent Art Deco craftsmanship.
The appraiser expressed his love for the pin's art moderne style, calling it a miniature sculpture with striking lines. He went on to explain that a piece like this, in its current condition, could easily fetch a good amount in a retail store.
I paid, I think, right at $3,000.
Okay.
The appraiser praised her $3,000 purchase as an excellent investment and urged her to wear and enjoy the treasure. The guest brought in a Tiffany Tray she purchased in the mid-1970s at an antique show that came to Atlanta every year. She bought it for $95, and her husband thought it was too much.
Tiffany things, and so anytime I would see something Tiffany that I could afford, I would buy it. So I've had this tray since the mid-70s.
The appraiser was impressed by the tray, noting it was a unique piece of Tiffany metalwork, made from a mix of copper, gold, and silver. The tray, dating from 1878, features a Japanesque design, which was popular during the 1870s when trade with Japan opened up.
As Japanese manufactured goods began coming into the United States and other countries, everyone was very interested in things that had the Japanese appearance.
The tray features an unusual gourd shape, with a silver stem curling back, a gold dragonfly with 18-carat wings, and delicate silver leaves and vines. The most special part is the mokume technique used on the gourd. Mokume involves layering different metals and then rolling them to create a mottled effect, which adds significant value, despite some condition issues such as uneven copper color. The appraiser noted that this tray is highly sought after in the collector's market, especially with its mixed metals and aesthetic period design. The appraiser estimated that the tray could be worth a significant amount, leaving the guest appalled.
That doubles that, and you're looking at more like $20,000 to $25,000 at auction.
Well, very interesting. Okay.
The guest shared that this hanging fixture had been in their parents' Milwaukee home since they bought it in 1965.
It hung in the house for the 40 years that my parents lived in it.
When was it taken down?
It was taken down probably 15 to 18 years ago because some of the links gave way.
The appraiser immediately recognized it as an early Tiffany piece, dating back to 1892, before Tiffany Studios was officially established. At that time, the company was known as Tiffany Glass and Decorating Company. This fixture, though unsigned, had all the hallmarks of Louis Comfort Tiffany's designs. Twisted metal resembling rope, opalescent glass tiles, and a strong Moorish influence, which reflected Tiffany's fascination with Orientalism. What made this find even more special was that all of its metal parts were still intact, including the original ceiling canopy and pole, something rarely seen. The appraiser said Tiffany made gas lamps and sometimes mixed gas and electric parts because people weren't sure about electricity back then. Because this piece was in great condition and had all of its original parts, the appraiser estimated its value generously.
In Milwaukee on the east side, when my parents bought the house in 1965.
The guest brought in a pair of silver hare's head stirrup cups designed to be used at hunt meets. Held by the ears, these cups were meant for sharing a pre-hunt drink of brandy or port among mounted riders before setting off with the hounds.
Before the hounds moved off.
It looks like a pretty big shot to take just before you go out.
I suspect they were designed to be passed from person to person and not a single person.
Both cups were made by Tiffany & Co. and featured sterling silver hallmarks, including a leopard's head for London, a date letter, and a lion mark confirming their sterling standard. The appraiser noted that while these particular cups were from 1983 and 1988, the design itself wasn't new. He had found an identical pair by Wedgwood and Bentley from 1780. When asked about their value, the guest admitted they had paid $1,400 for one and $1,200 for the other. The appraiser had good news.
I think you did well, because in today's market, for insurance, I would insure these at $9,000 for the pair.
Okay.
The guest was delighted, and the appraiser couldn't help but admire the craftsmanship. The guest shared a heartwarming story about how her mother discovered a Tiffany lamp in the late 60s. The lamp was being sold through a local neighborhood flyer, and when her mother saw it, she immediately recognized its value. The seller, who knew what she had, mentioned it had belonged to her grandfather, but because she had just moved into a small apartment, she wanted to sell it.
She said $125. Right. $125, so my mother went to the bank real quick, purchased it, and has had it ever since.
And your family has taken very good care of it.
When the appraiser took a look at the lamp, he explained it was made by Tiffany Studios around 1905, and it featured a rose helmet shade shaped like a helmet. The lamp sat on an incredibly rare arc and leaf base, with stylized leaf designs running all along the base and even up towards the top. He mentioned it was rare to see this base, and in fact, he could count on one hand how many times he had seen it.
Over the years, the bases and the shades can get separated. And what's very interesting about this base is that I believe that this has stayed together all these years.
The lamp, a true luxury item in its time, would have cost about $200 in 1905, a hefty price back then. The seller had taken the lamp to 2 dealers, but both had doubts, with one saying the finish on the base wasn't right. However, the appraiser confirms that the etched doré finish was exactly as it should be, and that this lamp was in perfect condition. Then came the big reveal.
This lamp is worth between $80,000 and $125,000. Mom had a good eye.
An appraiser couldn't wait to hear the backstory behind a massive stained glass piece brought in for evaluation. The guest explained that their grandfather had been a superintendent at an estate in Gloucester, Massachusetts, and somehow this piece ended up in his possession. But instead of being displayed like a prized treasure, it spent years in a chicken coop.
Then it went to my parents' house, where it went to the attic, where it stayed for many years, where it came to my house in the 90s. This was on the sun porch for many years, and then in the summertime, we put it in the barn up in the loft.
The appraiser, clearly impressed, marveled at how well the piece had survived. Honestly, with that history, I'm amazed it's in such phenomenal condition, they said. Given its sheer size, a massive 33 inches in diameter, it should have been riddled with cracks by now, but somehow it remained almost pristine. Taking a closer look, the appraiser pointed out something interesting. While the piece wasn't signed, the glass itself told the story. The background glass? Definitely Tiffany. The geometric design? Tiffany all the way. Even the decorative arms had that signature Tiffany craftsmanship. But here's the twist. Some parts, like the sockets and the central pole, weren't Tiffany.
Those parts are not Tiffany. They're period, but they're not Tiffany. But the chains and the lovely arms coming out of the top.
Did that hurt the value? Not at all. The real kicker came when the appraiser revealed the estimated price.
Something like this in a retail setting could be priced anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000.
The guest, who had unknowingly kept a 6-figure Tiffany masterpiece in a chicken coop and a barn loft, could only laugh.